So Blackwood is a third-person action shooter, and you play as Anton Blackwood, who is a daytime store owner and a nighttime assassin.
Technically, you guys are kind of doing like an early access route. You're just not calling it early access then. Do you feel like there's going to be any pushback with that?
We've had this discussion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Push to Talk podcast, your premier FPS podcast, where we cover everything from battle royales to extraction shooters and everything in between, usually leaning over towards the tactical shooter side. Today, we have a special back-to-back podcast. We're doing weekly shows now, but I'm joined here today by Mehraj, who is the lead developer, studio founder of M7 Productions. You guys might know them as the developers of 0 Hour. Well, they're coming out with a new game on September 16th called Blackwood, and it's pretty fucking awesome. Now, because of Gamescom week and the scheduling here, you guys are probably noticing I'm kind of co-hostless this week. Crash wasn't able to make it to the show, which is why this is kind of like a special DLC edition of the Push to Talk podcast. If you guys end up liking the show, please leave a like on the video down below. If you guys are listening on Spotify, a 5-star review helps us out more than you guys know. And if you guys have massive noggins like myself and Crash, you can go to mammothheadwear.com and use code PUSH for 15% off of your order. And if you guys want early access to these episodes, make sure you go to patreon.com/BigFry. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Prox Chat.
I had more questions with, for asking you at this point. My questions are very specifically, not exactly asking your financial state. It's more like,
Sure.
Is YouTube what funds this, or you do this?
Yeah.
You fund this yourself, or even the fact that the new game that you're working on, as time goes on, games are being more expensive, and if you want to make something that looks good, and it's just getting more expensive to do that. And especially I know that you have a lot of people who are working with you, and this is the first time working with on Blackwood. I realized that we had to use a lot of outsourcing for the animations, and we realized that working in call, other than the money, even just communicating, having a team online, I feel like these aspects, to a certain extent, I found it easier than handling my own office.
Interesting. Man, that's such a great conversation. So yeah, we're all remote, right? So that's all I ever know. Because I'm in a very small town, middle of Saskatchewan. Nobody's around here doing game development, right? So when I think of the future, even, it's all going to be remote. I can't imagine asking a bunch of people who I know to move out to the middle of fucking nowhere where there's nothing, right? So I don't know. I find it easier, but I will say there are some trade-offs that I think when it comes to the trouble we had was a lot of time management. Guys had to if you're getting paid an hourly wage, okay, well, you need to track your time, but there's really no way for me to verify how things go. So it's just
you just have to accept.
You just kind of have to accept it. And it's just okay. So what I would do is I would always be give me a deadline. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Here's your tasks. You tell me how long you think it's going to take you to actually do this. And then if you miss a deadline, it's okay, yeah, I get it. Shit happens. And then if you miss another one, it's okay. And so that's how we just kind of handled it. It's just it's kind of just a trust, and it's just the shit you deal with, right?
Yeah.
But you're probably working with other companies, I imagine, on the animation suites and stuff. No, it's just all individuals then?
Yeah. So it's all individuals, but they're all friends. So
it's
one person knows the other, and then so even though they're all not collectively friends, but they all know one another.
It's a network of people. Yeah. And that's kind of how we
surprisingly a lot of it is from Croatia, and
interesting.
It's so fun working this way though, because I got to meet these people, and it's so fun kind of connecting. And now the best part was that seeing that these people were so passionate about the project as well, that it helped out the development further. Because there were a lot of times when I've compared the development from our in-house to outsourcing,
right?
And the biggest comparison was because just to give you a background, a lot of the people like if you find local talents in Bangladesh, the hardest thing is finding people who are passionate. You'll find programmers, but you'll not find programmers who make games,
Right.
And so if you I don't know if it's something you want to still know, but 0 Hour was me solo programming the whole thing. BLACKWOOD is still the same, except I still do have some people who like we outsource that portion, but like those are also through people who I know, and ended up being like a lot easier. But when we we tried finding talents here for like 4 years, and we had to fire so many times. Mostly because we'll tell them to do something. I'll have that done in 2 days, and they'll take a month. And it just went crazy. But even if I don't compare that aspect, it's just that people who are working with us from the very beginning, like locally in the company, they are definitely more passionate. They have that thing where, okay, we love what we're making, and to improve. But a lot of the animation aspects, this is why we had to outsource. We have a mocap studio of our own. We have the suits and everything. We still decided to outsource it, mostly because our animators were not willing to learn.
Interesting.
So learn in the sense that in terms of acting, we would tell them there is a very specific thing we want, and it's like we want it to be realistic, but their background comes from animating cartoons. So when they animate things, it's just exaggerated, but at the same time smooth. Whenever you're moving arms, it's
and in an action like John Wick style thing, it's not smooth at all. Interesting. That's
we
very
did
cool.
try though. This was like we basically we were researching about making this game 2 years in 0 Hour. And so it was just something in the background. And back then and it's hard finding stuntmen, but surprisingly I had a friend who knows martial art. So we brought him over to the office and we tried tracking his movement. It was very hard in the beginning because first of all, he was a martial art person, but he never did animations before, so he broke the suit like twice.
Oh shit, wow.
Because he gave the full force, but in reality you're not supposed to give the full force when you're using suits. So there was a lot of learning, but even after we had good sessions, and then it went for cleanup to the animators, and they just did. It wasn't what we wanted. Like it was still 0 Hour quality.
Right.
Whatever we wanted to make next, it had to be better. And
Damn. All right. Well, I have a ton of questions like prepped and ready to go because I want to get into some of this stuff, basically like how you guys went from 0 Hour to where you're at now and that kind of mentality and some of I don't want to call them mistakes, but some of the lessons that you learned from the first one. Because 0 Hour was your guys' first game, right?
First worldwide Steam game.
Gotcha.
I did have games before, but it was mostly very small. I guess I've had this conversation with Clean once. Where this was a long time ago. It's not Clean. It was another person who made videos on RB6. Because I did try recreating RB6 a long while ago, and so the question was why did I make it? And my answer back then, and even for a long while, was just that there was not a practice of buying games in Bangladesh, so we didn't really get to participate in playing that game. So what I had to do was find my own way, make something, and play with my friends. And so that game was basically just so that I could play with them.
Damn.
And so after that,
that's crazy.
It was a whole journey of me trying to learn from experiences where I could make things, and I could I would make a single player version of things first, and then I'll make an online version of it so that I can try it out with my friends. this way. I've throughout the years I've learned like how I could like recreate the GTA system, or even the Division system, and even I tried recreating For Honor, and so I have all these in like the YouTube channel that we have, but it's very old, but it's all of those things that kind of built up the experience and confidence. And weirdly enough, Zero Hour was my first first person project.
Yeah.
And everything I made before that was third person.
Wow. I want to set the stage here. Run me through who you are, what your role is at the studio, and then we're going to get into Blackwood here. So feel free to introduce yourself to the people.
So first of all, thanks for having me. And so my name is Mehraj Maroof, and I'm the CEO of A3M7 Productions. I also basically lead the gameplay aspects of the games we make.
Cool. And you guys have Blackwood, which I'll be honest, I actually didn't realize you guys having a release date. I thought it was still Q3, but I was looking around. I didn't know you guys announced September 16th.
So we did that, like we updated that on Steam so that we could get some traction because it's getting so close to the release.
Yeah.
But we were waiting till Gamescom to make the official announcement through a trailer. That's why we're still waiting because it's already scheduled. It's just nothing we could do.
Okay. So this shouldn't go out before Gamescom then is what you're telling me? We should wait a little bit?
No, I'm good with because it's already out there, right?
All right, hell yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into Blackwood. Give me the sales pitch. This is like, honestly, I've thought about this kind of game like in the past, even when we were talking about like early days transients. So like this is almost like a dream project for me. It's super sick. Let them know what it is.
So Blackwood is a third-person action shooter where it's linear, and you play as Anton Blackwood, who is a daytime store owner, a DVD store owner to be specific, and a nighttime assassin. And the main thing is that this is something we've actually wanted to make as well for a long time, like an action game with like a lot of sick moves. I don't want to specifically say John Wick because that's the immediate thing that everyone goes to, but there's been a lot of inspirations for us even from like other movies, because growing up, like we've watched a lot of movies, and it's kind of a thing, like, you know, when you see a lot of action movies, I think a lot of people have always wanted like or dreamt of making something of that you know, as I would say like energy in this case, and or like even the aesthetics. And so Blackwood was something that let us prove that, you know, we could make something like that. And so it's not really John Wick when it comes to the moves. I feel like for us, when we say like, you know, it's an action shooter with a lot of cool moves, we mean anything like even if you play games like Def Jam. I don't know if you've played it.
Oh yeah.
So even games like that, like the old school games, we wanted to give those you know, those feelings back, you know, bring it back here for Blackwood.
Yeah, super cool. So I can't wait to talk about the DVD store ownership side of it, because I'll be honest, like I'm a shooter, third person guy. I'm actually way more interested in the DVD side of things. I love like business sim stuff. When did the original idea for this game happen? I know you mentioned to me before, but I'm curious.
The original idea for this happened a long time ago, and to a certain extent, I cannot tell you like a lot of the details because we did try a lot of things, but it was mostly like, you know, we knew that we wanted to make an action shooter that we definitely like we made sure that we definitely have the resources to make, and like we already had a story in mind. We wrote the story, we wrote the characters, and then what we needed was, okay, but now this needs something else, right? Like, if it's just action, people are gonna get bored of it, like even if let's say if we make 12 levels, it's just going to be 12 levels and there's nothing to come back to, or even nothing to hold you and, you know, let you be connected to this character in any way. So in this case, what we were trying to do is find a way that we can make him a regular Joe during the day, and in that way you basically kind of get to see the human side, and then we can give the opportunity to the players that they can initiate missions where they're turning into this badass. But even with saying that, surprisingly, even if it's not really a spoiler, it's more of the who Anton Blackwood is. I feel like a lot of people would be surprised, or a lot of people might expect that he's this badass immediately, but that's not the idea for us. We want him to be a human that makes a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and he can be childish because there's a lot of issues, right? And it's just that over time you'll overcome that, and there's something to grow from, and to become that badass eventually.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask with the two sides of things. So DVD store owner, you can kind of go through his daily routine where you wake up, you can move around the apartment. How interconnected are the two sides? Do things that you do during the day, can that influence some of the enemies you run into? Or if you screw up a mission at night, does that how interconnected are the two systems?
So not all missions would have, and I'm saying not all because there are some missions where if you fail, you have to go back home.
Okay.
But if in a mission you're dying, it doesn't really make sense for you to die and go back home. So those kind of ways, we basically just restart the mission for you guys.
Gotcha.
So the way the both worlds connect is we wanted you to have a constant debt throughout the month that you have to pay back, and this debt is not easy enough to pay just doing the assassin's contract. You do need a proper way to have a living and also at the same time pay off this debt, and the store is your biggest way to pull that off. While that's the one connection, the other thing is a lot of it is story aspect related. So there are times when you'll see cops coming into the store, and you don't know if they came here to arrest you or they came here to buy a DVD, but there's that. And there are aspects, but we are releasing the game as acts, so it's not going to be in Act 1, but there will be aspects where certain missions would trigger people you meet during the missions to come up to your store.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. Why DVDs? And the game is set in, is it 2012? Why'd you choose this time period?
So the first question's answer, DVDs, because this allows us to kind of give reason to a lot of the things that Anton does in his action, the missions. Which is we're basically making you understand Anton growing up, he watched movies, and these movies are what influenced him to do to learn styles or learn very risky things to do just for the sake of thrill. And in that way that there is a more story aspect to it, but that becomes a spoiler. And so I wouldn't go too in depth of it, but there is more reasons to why he owns a DVD store. But the biggest reason is because he wants to stay connected to the movie world that he grew up living in. 2012, because if we do anything after that, there's a lot of complexity, AI becomes a thing, or even more technological advancements that come by, and we wanted to give a very gritty and grounded gameplay and grounded ideas, or even the missions. We wanted to make it very noir, and we didn't want to bring in technology to be a part of the gameplay. And while it's not going to be the part of the gameplay in the first act, throughout the acts you'll realize that technology is evolving. A lot of the older practices will slowly vanish.
Very cool. In terms of the DVD store side of things, I know just in some of the gameplay clips that you have on your page, you have things like trending movies and stuff like that. Like, how in depth is the store management side of things? Like, what all can you do there?
It is quite in depth in the sense that we have over 300 movies in the game.
Oh wow!
A lot of it definitely inspired by real world movies, so that and I'll be surprised if there is a video, dedicated to showing all the references that we have of movies.
Yeah.
But we feel like we have enough there in terms of learning about these movies and even connecting with the other character that's in the store. And the more time you spend in the store, the more dialogues you get from Emily, where she tries to connect with you more. Mm-hmm. And you also realize that initially Anton doesn't really give in too much into the conversations. He would just nod it off, or he says something very basic that you cannot get out of, or there's no replies to it. But yes, so over time, the more time you spend, you're basically trying to have Anton open up and even talk about the past.
Okay, cool. How many, just side tangent, how many people are on the dev team at this point, like across like contractors and everything?
So currently, with everyone involved, it's around 63 people.
63 people. Wow. That's incredible. And so, okay, because now I'm just curious, contrast that to when we first started seeing 0 Hour. How many people were involved then?
When we first started 0 Hour, we just released the game. I guess we were just 16 people. 16
people. That's crazy, man. The scale's insane.
We didn't have an office either.
Yeah. And so now you guys have an office, but we were also talking like you're also doing a lot of like remote contract work as well.
Right.
That's so cool, man. I'm incredibly proud of you. Just as a side note, like it's very cool to see the progression from 0 Hour to now. We're going to talk about that too. So Blackwood dives, rolls, there's cover mechanics, there's contextual takedowns. How lethal is the game? Is it like one wrong move and you're done for? Like, or how hard is the game to handle?
So, given the we've had around 60 private testers as in like testers we selected through the public forums. Yeah. And we also had internal testers and the office, like we eventually invite a few people to check it out.
Yeah.
Given all those, seeing every one of them play, it is surprisingly very, very easy to get into. Like I've had my fiance who does not play shooters at all.
Yeah.
And using a controller, she passed through the prologue.
Okay.
While she did that, it's still very hard for even it really depends on the difficulty you chose, but for players who have played like Counter-Strike for as a living, even they struggled finishing the prologue for a while.
Okay. Interesting. So there are different difficulties then.
There are different difficulties, but the difficulties kind of adapt to how you play. If you play in a very defensive way, that the AIs become more aggressive, but you become unpredictable, the AI also scatters.
Gotcha.
So it really, so there is definitely a balance there where there is 12 people after you and you're just one person, right? So realistically you're gonna die, but if you want to be this hero character, this protagonist that is better than anyone out there, right?
Yeah.
To a certain extent, it cannot just be the character. It also has to come from the player.
Gotcha. Very cool. So we also know, I mean, obviously coming from 0 Hour, you guys are super into the weapons, the firearms. How in depth are things like weapon customization, or is there any sort of weapon upgrades? What can we expect there?
So this is something we're very proud of, and we're quite sad that we didn't get to do this with 0 Hour, but the weapon customization while not to the same level as Tarkov, it is near Tarkov level.
Really?
Yeah. So there is no this weapon is better, or this weapon has better damage. It does not work like that. It depends on what ammo you're using. It depends on what attachments you have on your weapon, because each thing basically changes the feel of the weapon.
Cool.
So you can have a weapon you can buy weapons from black market that are literally stripped out, and you can build from that. Like, you can buy that for a cheaper price, or maybe it has a certain part that you want to use in your other weapon. You can just take it off, put it in that weapon.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. So how many different weapons in the game then?
So with Act 1, we're giving you 13 weapons.
13 weapons. And now, is that spread across, is there any sort of melee weapon builds that players can do, or is it all firearm related?
So melee weapons right now you won't be able to buy. There are missions where we give you melee weapons to use, but it's not something that you buy at the moment. It is something we plan on giving you access to buying in the later acts, because it is a story-related thing. But so far with Act 1, there will be around 3 melee items, melee variations to attacking.
Gotcha. And then run me through, you mentioned the black market. You can buy weapons and stuff off there. How does that interact with the game? Is there other stuff you can buy, or is it just for weapons?
Yeah, there's more. So the basement is to a certain extent upgradable.
Okay.
If you want to hold more weapons, you're going to have to buy shells.
So, that's so cool. Oh my God, yes.
These shelves also let you kind of show the weapon. You're not really showing the weapon to anyone other than yourself.
Of course.
But it's just a power move, I guess. And it's made in a way where, you're hiding the drawer as you go out, because just in case if someone comes by, you don't want them to immediately know you have weapons here.
Okay. So you guys have actually invested into hideout customization and stuff too within the apartment and the basement. The basement is obviously your downstairs area. There's a garage attached to that as well for the vehicle?
Right. But unfortunately, for a lot of reasons, you're not going to see that car for too long.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Story related stuff. No spoilers then. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So, okay. Well, we've been mentioning Act 1. The game's coming out September 16th. You guys have opted to not do early access, but instead you're doing this act. So for players, how long can they expect Act 1 to be in terms of if I were to just focus on playing the missions and doing the things every day, how many hours can we expect from this?
So given that you only finish the missions and give bare minimum in the store, Act 1 is around 6 hours.
6 hours. Okay. Do we have a price? Can you announce that yet?
That price announcement is with the trailer, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
we'll offline it after.
I can give you that what I can tell you is it's a AA price, mostly because it's a AA investment. So.
Gotcha. Cool. And then so for let me just clarify. Players won't have to pay for Act 2 and 3 or 3, 4, whatever. It's just this is the buy-in 6 hours, and then you get more content after. Got you. Cool.
But the price of the game will increase with each act. It's just that people who already bought in, they won't have to.
Gotcha. Interesting. So, I mean, technically, you guys are kind of doing an early access route. You're just not calling it early access then.
We've had this discussion internally, and one of the biggest thing that comes with the early access tag is we've seen this with 0 Hour, which is people expect 1.0 to not only feel polished, but to look whatever generation that year is.
Oh, okay.
So we first of all, making Blackwood is very expensive because of the sheer amount of animations that come into play. We're hiring, people who worked on movies, and now they're doing stunts for us. Yeah. And so, not just for the gameplay itself, but even for the cutscenes, there's a lot of action that we're trying to put in. Yeah. And these end up being so expensive that if we focus more of our time in improving the graphics, we're not going to be able to give you the full story experience that we want to give.
Right.
Because like that'll end up taking like, a lot longer. And we feel like, something like graphical improvements should come with, a sequel. But if we're releasing something right now, I feel like if we give early access, it's going to be a similar thing to 0 Hour, where people are going to expect 1.0 to look from what it is right now to something like, vastly different. Like it has to look realistic. Even though we're trying to go for a very specific art style that I guess it kind of looks like we made. Even with 0 Hour, it kind of has that aesthetic.
Yeah. You definitely have an M7 aesthetic to everything, though. But this one's leaning way more into the noir vibe. I dig it, though. Okay, so interesting. Do you feel like there's going to be any pushback with that?
I don't think so, because we believe the game is quite polished.
Okay.
So of course, we're like a month away from release if it was unpolished, but it's still like we have a month, and we're very confident in the fact that within the month we're going to be able to polish even more. We're going to be able to improve a lot more. The biggest complaints that we've had, like from the playtesters and a lot of the forums that we've made them fill up to keep getting more feedback, we've realized that the game turns out like more people love the gameplay. It's just that most of the polish complaints come from cutscenes.
Gotcha. And in what way?
Facial animations.
Those are motherfucker, aren't they? Hey,
yeah.
That's why we made a game where our characters usually just wear helmets.
Yeah, I've seen your videos. I've seen that video, and I basically went through you saying that, and I was just thinking, maybe we should just give him a mask.
Give him a mask, a balaclava, just something, right?
Yeah, but then it becomes Watch Dogs. But
true.
And even if we give him a mask, how is he going to talk with Emily or like the civilians?
It doesn't work. Yeah, you pin yourself in a corner, because I mean, a guy wearing a mask running a DVD store is probably not very inviting. It's just not going to work. Yeah, I see that. Interesting. That's so crazy. So let me ask you, we were talking about like motion capture and how expensive that is. How's that workflow from, because you have your own motion cap, but you said you've also outsourced to other animators as well. That's obviously the hardest part of the development of this, I would imagine, correct?
Communication, you mean?
Like the actual workflow of just building a game with this many different animations, takedowns, contextual animations, like what's that look like?
Surprisingly, we got very lucky.
Okay.
We got very lucky in the sense that in the beginning of the project, we were kind of scrambled, like, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to have like this level of action in the game? We tried mocapping, but we only had one suit at that time, and so our actor had to do the attacker and also the victim at this one after the other. And then so we tried doing that, gave it to the animators, and they was like, what the fuck did you just give me? And then I think it took him a week to realize this is not gonna work, and because he really tried, and then he gave another attempt where he used some of the data and did a hand key animation of it.
Okay.
For the longest time, we did use that for just internal showcasing of the game.
Yeah.
But it was like after a while where we realized that, okay, if we just spend a little bit more, and because of the fact that the main coordinator for the mocap, that's also outsourced, and he basically has a full team of stunt workers, and first of all, he does mocap for a living, so he definitely has a lot of the contacts, and even the cleanup animators that we have later hired, they're all kind of through him in the beginning. And just from that contact alone, he told us, okay, we have this stuntman that can help us with this. And so we took a day, and we basically we probably booked a gym, like a school gym, for like 7. Like, we had a mocap session, and I was just on Discord, just watching him do it. But that session went on for 6 to 7 hours.
Wow.
And we did everything that was on the list, and I was just amazed that these people I told them I want this, and they just knew. They immediately did it. And it was amazing to see them at work, because first of all, they, like, from the very beginning, they told me, like, this is what we wanted to do from, like, for a long while, but we never had the opportunity to do. You've given us this, and I know that you have certain ideas. We have ideas too. And a lot of the takedowns, a lot of them were even improvised by them. And so, and the ones that they improvised, those are the ones that people keep talking about.
Awesome.
And it's like, it's surprisingly so much easier than I expected to work with these people, that within the last 2 years that we've been doing the animations, it's never been difficult to
That's
coordinate.
Good.
I was surprised that I was like, with the list of animations and everything, I was definitely scared that doing this would be hard. And this is kind of what I was asking you, like, how your experience is working with talent that you don't really physically see. You're basically just talking on Discord.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's nice seeing these people. It's fun seeing them be so passionate. But I guess I got lucky in this case as well, where we found the perfect team.
Man, you love to hear that when it's lightning in a bottle and it's smooth sailing. Like, that's fucking beautiful. I want to ask about these animations and how it works in game. Contextual takedowns. So it's obviously going to be determined by weapon. How do you guys handle, like, enemy positions? Like, is there nearby objects or walls? Like, how in depth, how big is that animation list for something like this?
So right now, with all the animations we have done so far, we have around 78 takedowns altogether. And still counting to this day, like, the list that we have for the whole game, it's around 167.
That's
so
crazy.
There's still a long way to go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But this is just 78 of takedowns where you're doing 1-to-1 takedowns. We plan in the future ones, it's all, like, a lot of it is going to be multi-takedown.
Right. So okay, hold on. Multi-takedown. Run me through that. What do you mean by that?
You're taking down one person, but you have the opportunity to keep,
I see.
Keep going further, but each one is like a music beat,
Wow.
And you have full control over who you're actually shooting and all.
Yeah. Cool. So in terms of Blackwood itself, is it structured? I've played it, but I'm trying to ask this just to explain to the audience. Is it structured around open world, like smaller kind of explorable areas? Like, what can the players expect in terms of, like, a level or a mission for something like this?
So the missions are heavily linear. There's not a lot of choices that you have. A lot of the choices you do have are very subtle. And these choices are basically what we are considering. Like, we keep track of these decisions you make throughout the acts for what happens later during the end. But other than that, it's mostly a very focused story that it goes by as kind of like how we planned it to go. Yeah. And so there's no open world. Okay. It's completely linear.
Now, is there, in terms of, like, the mission structure, is there multiple ways to approach a mission, or, like, what do the missions actually look like? If you could give us an example of one, maybe not going into spoilers, but like.
So we've tried not to focus too much on stealth with this game, because we felt like the game does not do well. The game does not do well when it's stealth. Yeah. And I know that there's a lot of games similar to this. Like, I mean, Watch Dogs is open world, but, like, it has a lot of missions that are, and the gameplay can be similar. Yeah. But even they have stealth, and they kind of make it work in their own way. But with the story that we have and the way we want Anton to be, the Anton is basically the player. you want to play this game, you want to shoot people up, you want to go
100%.
crazy.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You don't want to slow down. And Anton is kind of, we're showing that he has a similar mentality to you.
Gotcha.
So that you immediately connect to him. He's
That's
an anti-hero in a way.
Yeah.
Like the way it works. But, so I don't know if this answers your question, but it's mostly always action. And in terms of like going through the path, it's how you complete it that's different, but the path is mostly the same.
Gotcha. Let me tell you, when I was playing the when was that? Was that at the end of last year or maybe earlier this year when I played?
I think earlier,
yeah. When all those vehicles started rolling up on the road and like it was time to just gun motherfuckers down, it felt really, really good. It's just like that vibe. You guys are nailing it. Is there going to be a demo during the launch for players to try out?
So, because of the fact that Act 1 is very short, considering 6 hours in this day and age, it ends up feeling short for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we're not giving it now, but the demo would be available as soon as we have Act 2.
Gotcha. And the time between the release and Act 2, I know obviously game development isn't linear. What are you guys kind of expecting for a wait for that?
So we already have all of these planned. Like we had the development lined up long before we even announced everything. So, and we're very confident with the timeline as well. So the way it's going to work is we have a backlog of a lot of missions that are still getting added, and we have a lot of them ready. It's just, we're implementing, but we want to make sure whatever is implemented first is polished. Mm-hmm. So from Act 1 to Act 2, you're going to get a lot of patches where you're going to get side missions.
Okay.
And Act 2 is planned to release between February to March of next year.
Okay, so it's not like we're going to be waiting, 2+ years for that. And then you guys are planning 3 acts total then, or more? 3 acts total. Got you. And then past that, are you guys planning like? It's weird to say post-launch because technically those acts are post-launch, but are you guys planning like any sort of cosmetic DLCs, any sort of like expansions past the 3 acts that you guys are working on?
So we're planning to give a supporter edition with a very so you're not going to get the item immediately. It's not like you got the supporter edition and you immediately have it in your inventory. It's more like we're making certain things available for you in the black market, like very specifically for people who buy that in.
Gotcha.
And it's a very cool concept that we have, which is one of the movies that you see in the game. You basically get the outfit of that movie.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so have you guys worked with any like actual, IPs or movies like to get them licensed into the game at all, or is this all fictionalized?
All fictionalized except Transient.
Except Transients, of course. Yes. Yeah. Now, Transients is just a movie you can get, right? There's no like. When you say you have over 300 movies, it's not like every movie is going to be able to teach Anton something. You're talking like how does that actually interact? I guess I should ask.
It's not every movie, but it's basically like certain movies when you have them in your you bought them and you got them in your inventory, it immediately unlocks a certain move for you that you can you'll see it in your choreography menu, and of course you're gonna get a notification that you learned something. It would be fun if we could add a movie for each one of these things.
Right, that'd be crazy.
Unfortunately, maybe this is one of the things we could do over the acts, where this gets added, where each action movie that you get a move from does have something to watch.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but we're pretty fast with how we work with things. Yeah. Because to a certain extent, we do have a TV that does get updated with each main mission you do. Like you'll basically end up seeing like whatever you fucked up in the world basically ends up coming in the news. Okay, cool. And you're just like, oh, well, I did that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, let me see here. Oh, consoles. Is there a plan for consoles for this game? You mentioned controller.
So we have full controller support. Like if you have a PS5 controller, adaptive triggers and everything. We want this to be on consoles. And we would have loved to just co-developed the console version along with it, but unfortunately, PlayStation or Xbox do not send their dev kits to Bangladesh, so we can't do that. Yeah. So, and there's also so many requirements to fill for you to actually get it. So we have the partnership and everything. Like we have the accounts, but they won't give us the dev kit. We have the permission to publish anytime, but you need the dev kit to make the thing. But that's one thing we don't have access to. Unfortunately, there is no bypass. The only bypass is we have to hire a porting house who has to port it for us. We are currently looking into that, so hopefully it'll go fast.
Yeah, hell yeah, cool. All right, so I want to ask some questions about where the studio's at now. What can you afford to do with Blackwood? Because it sounds like this is a way more expensive project than 0 Hour was. What can you guys afford to do now that you wish you could have done in the earlier days of 0 Hour, now with all of the resources that you've gained over the last 5-6 years?
6 years at this point.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's been 6 years, like just a few days ago. August 12th is when we released the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Holy shit. So how far you guys have come. That's crazy.
So we've partnered up with SkyMap on 0 Hour. And
I was going to ask you about that.
It's been a while, so we're very happy to have them. They're a very good team. But to come back to your question, I feel like we could have made 0 Hour into a very cinematic game if we had the resources we had right now. Because and not just the resources, even just I did like a bunch of R&D before starting Blackwood's like the official gameplay. And during the R&D stage, I've learned that there are so many ways I could trick into making something that looks really nice, but in such a simple way that people are never going to notice. But because even the takedowns, there's a very in the development aspect, like there's a very easy. Not a lot of people talk about it, but there's a very easy way to handle all that it looks very nice. And like it matches and it's cinematic every time. But learning that, I wish that I knew this before, and I wish that we had this resources budget back then. And I mean, I don't know much about like how we would have improved it online, because honestly the online aspect, a lot of the reasons for going online was you don't have to make a whole story. You don't have to think about this many voice lines, this many storylines. Instead, it's like, okay, it's you let 5 people, like 10 people get into the game and they make their own story.
Sure.
But other than that, like we originally really wanted to make this like 0 Hour story based. It's just that due to the resources we couldn't, and we feel like maybe in the future if we do 0 Hour 2, it'll be heavily cinematic and more in line with movies than it is with games. But
damn, you're hitting on all the questions that I had for you guys. I had a question about like, is there a 0 Hour 2 in the future for you guys?
I am definitely interested because first of all, this is what started everything for us. And so we definitely feel like we owe everyone, like the fan base, something in the future where there's something to hold on to. And in this case, I know that a lot of there's a divide between co-op and multiplayer. The fan base of PvP don't like the co-op players, and the co-op players don't like PvP players. And it's really hard. This is one of the biggest things we've learned, balancing like the two player base. But we have plans, and if things go well, we'll take on those plans, and it's going to be whatever we make next would be very cinematic.
Very cool. So you guys have a launch coming up September 16th, AA price. what does Blackwood need to accomplish for you guys to consider it like a successful launch? All right, what kind of metrics are you guys looking at? Is it sales figures? Is it player numbers? Like what would make you happy coming out of the launch window for this game?
I think it's mostly sales when it comes to a single player game.
Yeah.
But I feel like if the game is good, it's automatically going to, hit that on its own.
For sure. Yeah.
So we're quite confident with the game, and given like our testers' feedbacks and their reactions to everything, that also added a lot more confidence to everything. And just it goes a bit off topic, kind of.
Okay.
But so we've done a lot of videos. We've recently given out like the demo for people to showcase, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we've realized is a lot of people, there's a difference when you play the game, and there's a difference when you see the game.
Okay.
And the difference comes from the fact that we chose to make Blackwood very responsive, more more towards responsive than smooth, right? So if you compare it to like the older, like not older, but in general, like Max Payne, for example.
Yeah.
Max Payne was very smooth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that added a lot of clunk, right? Like that means like you want to go left to right, or that you're gonna have 2 seconds to go right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of those are the kind of things I wanted to add in 0 Hour, but not here. This is not the type of game where we want to do that. Yeah. And so we wanted to make this. Actually, this was one of the biggest things that we've decided in the beginning, after working on 0 Hour for so long. Whatever you make now has to be the opposite of whatever 0 Hour is, because I am done with slow.
Dude, yeah, I know that feeling 100%. You guys should be proud of 0 Hour though, but dude,
no, we're
6 years. I mean, 6 years since the launch. I remember seeing the game before you guys even announced it. So I mean, you're talking what, 8 years in 0 Hour, or 7 years? Like that's a long time, man. I totally get wanting to just go the exact opposite direction with it.
Yeah, but there is something we're excited to see people, like if 0 Hour players end up playing Blackwood. There's a lot of references to 0 Hour, and recently I've just finished like the most how impactful cutscene for the game, and you see it and immediately 0 Hour.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, man. Like I remember the old days of just like we were playing that map, and like I was streaming it, and you guys were just like fixing things in real time. Like, it was fucking awesome.
We don't sleep.
Yeah, no, I fully believe that. What's something about Blackwood that you want to desperately show players but you can't reveal yet?
The story.
Yeah. You're excited for it?
This is something I feel like we're very excited about, and we're very scared about, because we're releasing it in acts, and so you have no idea what comes in the next act.
Right.
But the fact that Act 1 is the build up to whatever is in Act 2, even in Act 1, like we've tried to make sure like people get enough ideas, but like we truly feel that we've found a good balance where we wanted people to connect with Anton and go on from there, and give you something that's unique.
Right. And then conversely, what's something that you think players or the people who have seen like the trailers, what do you think is currently misunderstood about the game at this point?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I
got to stump you on one.
The biggest misunderstanding that people are having, and they're still having, like we see people coming on Discord and saying, "Oh, this is a GTA type game, right?"
Yeah.
People think it's open world, and that scares us, because I feel like I don't know what aspect of it makes it. I mean, there are channels that write, "Oh, GTA Online, open world game," but we've tried to make it very obvious it's not an open world game. And I feel like even with the game releasing, a lot of people still might have the misunderstanding that this is an open world game.
You know what it is, and this is what I'll tell you for me, because I actually thought you guys were going open world when I first saw everything too. And it's the vehicle. When he's chasing the guy at the end of the trailer and he peels off, I'm like, okay, so we have vehicle gameplay, and then you see the clip of the street with all the SUVs pulling up, and it looks like a larger area. I can totally understand the misconception. Man, I don't even know, like, how would you even, like, outside of on your store page going, this is a linear experience, how do you actually curb that expectation?
But what can you do if you want to make something cinematic? Like, exactly. I have to show the car. I mean, you 100%. Can drive the car.
Oh. Okay, so what does that look like? Because I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, you haven't? Oh,
no. Did I play? I don't think so what does that look like? You can drive the car, but if it's not open world, like, are you driving at 10 feet? Like, what does that look like?
I think you're gonna have full access pretty soon.
Okay.
And I would definitely love to know more about what you think. But yeah. So there are sequences in the game where you do get to use the car.
Okay, gotcha.
Unfortunately, that like there is reasons not to afterwards.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had mentioned that. Okay, gotcha.
But the car is a big part of the story, and it becomes a bigger part in Act 2.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's kind of like I'm teasing Act 2 a lot more than Act 1.
Right.
Yeah, but honestly, the biggest reason is if Act 1 itself becomes the blockbuster, if everything is blockbuster, then there is no middle ground, right? So there has to be like a build up to something, right? So in Act 1 we do let you know, and Act 1 does end with huge surprise, but at the end of the day, the thing that we're trying to do is, like, with Act 1 we're trying to make you understand where the story is, where it's heading, and basically with Act 2 our way of saying is like, whatever you're seeing in Act 1, we're gonna double the intensity.
Yeah.
And you're basically progressing, not just as the player, not just as the character, you're progressing as the player as well, where it's getting harder as you go up.
Yeah. So with Act 1, when I finish Act 1 as a player and I'm in that limbo between waiting for Act 2, is there still replayability? Can I still do the daily? You just can't really progress the storyline anymore. Okay, cool.
But as I said, like, there will be side missions added as well. So and side missions, they also come with like modifiers. So you'll basically they'll come, like, once you complete a side mission, it will come back after a while and with a different modifier.
Okay, cool. Talking about 0 Hour and where you guys have come from, what's one design lesson that you guys learned from 0 Hour that you then took to Blackwood?
That's
probably a
lot, but question. It's a lot, but I don't know if this counts, but we didn't do online for a very specific reason, and that was because of the experience we had with 0 Hour doing online.
Yeah. So what did you learn from doing like a multiplayer, like and like you guys had a lot going on, co-op, PvP, everything. What kind of went into the decision to not do that this time around? Bad memories, bad lessons.
So it's not exactly that, but it comes from the aspect that when you make something online and it becomes a live service, right? So and the expectations is like, you keep adding more content, but at some point you're gonna run out of content, right?
Sure.
Or you're not gonna run out of content. Instead, you're gonna add sci-fi things, or make your own stuff up, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't help the vision of the game. And so we found ourselves in a point where we weren't sure what else we could add. And so initially with Blackwood, we did have ideas that we're gonna have online aspects and very interesting online aspects as well, where I mean, it's been done before, but like in our aspect we were trying to do it in a different way. But the idea is infiltrating someone else's game.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, cool.
And
that'd be sick.
That would be sick, because one of the I mean, it's no point talking about it now because I don't want to use that as a marketing lingo, and the game does not have this right now.
Yeah.
But the idea was, like, for example, our game has a fight club where you get to fight.
Oh, sick.
And so we wanted to make it that another player can get into the fight club as well. I mean, a lot of players could, like, it would be a hub thing, but they would basically be able to see the matches live. They'll be able to bet on the person or bet on themselves and get in.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
So this was like one aspect. Yeah. And then, you know, just seamlessly kind of blending. We'll not even tell you that there is a player joining in. It was like, the idea is that, you know, it would just naturally happen.
Right.
And but yeah, the main reason we didn't go by with it because, like, we wanted to focus more of the budget on the game itself.
Yeah.
A polished experience is a lot better than, you know, trying to squeeze in so much more.
Absolutely. Well, I got a couple more questions here, man. When somebody finishes Blackwood, Act 1 at this point, credits roll. I'm sure there's I'm hoping there's going to be credits. Okay.
There is.
What's the one thing that you actually hope they walk away with saying, you know, what's the one feature you hope that they really fucking love in this game?
I guess, like, the first thing would be that we really want people who finish, like, see the credits and, like, man, I want to know what happens next.
Yeah. So you're really hankering on the story on this one. The story is the big one. Okay. How many writers do you have on the team?
3.
Awesome. And are you influenced in the writing at all for the storyline? Yeah. Cool. Hell yeah. And if you could go back to 6 years ago, Mehraj, what would you tell your 6-year past self about the future? Like, what would you if you could give yourself a lesson back then? What would you want to tell yourself?
I guess to a certain extent, I would not want to go back, but the biggest thing would be, like, keep doing what you're doing because that's what ends up getting you where you are, right?
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, I really appreciate, like, you know, the success that we did get from 0 Hour. And I find myself and, like, even the whole team, like, we find ourselves very lucky because, first of all, we're the biggest game development company in our country, and there were times where we had to introduce, like, even the mocap suits. Introducing it to this country was so hard because they thought it was a bomb suit. But
oh shit.
But, like, even just the fact that, you know, it's the illiteracy that comes from the fact that there's not a lot of opportunities here that, you know, offer game development, right? So I feel humbled by the experience, and I also feel like, you know, like, everything had to be perfectly aligned for where I am right now, right? Yeah. And it was a thing of I am exactly where I am, like, where I wanted to be when I was, like, you know, when I was a kid, and that is the best thing you can have in life, right?
Fuck yeah.
Like, people say that you want to be an astronaut, and if you end up being that, and you feel like the best thing in the world because
you made it.
You've achieved it. Yeah. And so I feel like I've reached that, but of course I want to do more with what I got.
Of course. Yeah, no. I mean, it's the busiest lifestyle ever, just always creating and working. But you got to take those moments to actually just sit back and realize, you know, as much noise as there is online, as much as you can get lost in the sauce of shit, like, you're creating, I mean, you created a successful fucking business. You're bringing opportunities to your country, and you're making cool shit. Like, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Super cool. Awesome, man. Well, we usually end these shows with a question of what's one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is just starting out in their game development journey, as somebody who has done what you have done. So
I wouldn't say much from my experience because times have changed a lot, right?
Sure.
So the biggest reason I got lucky was because of the fact that, you know, it was a time where I made something and there was a hole in the market at that time, and there was also Corona and the fact that everyone was home, all those aspects kicked in, and that's why I got lucky. But this day and age, I feel like the thing that actually gives you more success is kind of like if you have a good idea and you know that it's fun. Of course, making it is the least of your problems given the current generation with AI and everything.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is how do you get it out to people, right?
Right.
And it's surprising, like even like just people who are like one or two people making games are earning a lot more than AAA games nowadays.
Yep.
And so you should know you have a chance in this market.
Right.
The only thing you need to do, have a really good idea, and then how do you market it? The best way you can market it right now is complete transparency and devlogs. You have to bring yourself out there. You have to, show what you're making, make people understand why they should be interested. And that would be my suggestion. Like, start a YouTube channel, make devlogs, go live, like, do live streams, because the more people you have going with you, like, that's what makes the community that you'll end up having when you get your game out, and that might as well just give you the success.
100%. So you guys hear that first. If you're a game developer, become a content creator. You need to in this day and age. You have to. You have to break away from the mold. Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome, man. It was awesome talking with you. I'm super psyched for the launch. Blackwood, September 16th, Act 1 releases. We don't have a price yet, but I'm going to ask you off the record after this show see what it is.
If you don't mind me asking, I don't know if you want this on the recording.
Yeah.
I wanted your not opinion, but
sure.
I think it is opinion, which is the world is going in a way where AI is becoming more accessible.
Yeah.
And this definitely makes game development a lot more accessible, right?
Yeah.
What I'm afraid of is game development will become more accessible, a lot more easier.
Yep.
And it would just be ideas that are the hardest part to get through. I want your opinion on that. Like, what do you think? Because you're getting into game development.
Yeah.
You're part of this thing, like we're making Blackwood. We're gonna be done with it at some point. What do we do next? And if in that generation, if making games is as easy as just a simple button, how do we prove ourselves?
I reject the notion that somebody's going to be able to push a button, put in a prompt,
and
create
I don't mean
Blackwood.
No. I don't mean that level. What I mean is, like, AI is definitely making it a lot easier for you to make games, right? Like, even if you don't know programming, you can it can help you out. And let's say you have a team of people who have some level of ideas of how to make games, but you did not know, like, the full experience.
Right.
You have AI to help you make your games faster.
Yeah.
But now the thing, like, and you can already see it on the Steam, that it's getting filled with more and more games each day, and a lot of it is AI slop.
Yes, it is.
At some point, it's not going to be AI slop, it's going to be ideas. But what I'm afraid of is it going to be a point where, like, people are going to appreciate just ideas of the games? Like, what are your thoughts? I don't know exactly what I want to know in this case. It's just that I'm kind of afraid of that.
I guess, like, okay, well, let me ask you this to get more context. So, like, from your position, what is it that you would be afraid of in the scenario that is happening in your mind here? What are you afraid of?
So, for example, we're making something very unique. We're making Blackwood. We have these takedowns. We have these cool animations and the cameras and the lighting. We had to do so much to get to get all that done. Yeah. But with the later tools that we're seeing, and when I say AI, I really don't mean prompt makes the whole thing. I mean, there's going to be AI that does mocap for you. Yeah. There's AI that does audio, but let's say that's not a case either. let's just say there's an AI that helps you with programming, and a lot of people are using it now, so you can't really say that it's not being used.
Right.
Let's say there's a AI that does help you out with level designing, and I'm not taking the people out of this. I'm saying like the people are using the AI as a tool in this case.
It's a tool.
But the game development is becoming faster and more accessible, meaning that you're making like the amount of money we spend to make Blackwood, you're spending like 1/4 of that, or like even less than that, and making something of that level. So then it becomes a thing of, what do we do to prove ourselves next? Is it just the ideas?
Yeah, that's tough, because in your example, if it's true that somebody could build a Blackwood equivalent for 1/4 of the price and it's on that same quality level,
like if the future ends up being that's what
exactly.
I'm
That's if it does. I mean,
how would you
good luck, man?
Games.
You can't. It would go for me. It would go straight to zero. But I think realistically, the market would decide whether or not that's acceptable or not. And I think you and me both know the common gamer, the casual, they're not going to give a fuck if it's made by AI or not. Is it good? Yeah. If somebody made a Blackwood equivalent, and is it good? Well, that's just something that you have to adapt to. Now, how do you, as a developer and as a creative and as not to blow smoke, but as a visionary, somebody on the forefront of this stuff, how do you stand out against that? That's really what I'll be honest, that's not an answer. It's not like, that's a rhetorical. I don't even know what the answer is. But you have to figure out how to adapt. That's really what this whole internet fucking digital landscape is all about. Okay, the next thing came up. How do we adapt and shift and pivot to make sure that we're ahead of the curve?
Yeah, but at that point it would just be, how do we get the better idea? Oh, he did that. Yeah. How do we just one up that?
Exactly. You have to be able to one up the AI or the tooling, and that's it. I don't know what that looks like, though. And I'll be honest, I don't want to know what that looks like.
I don't want to. I don't want to see that future be a reality in general. But I'm just afraid of it, and I know that you're getting in this space as well. Like I feel like this is something that worries this industry in general.
For sure, I think I agree when it comes to like AI and like the people who defend it, and they say like it's like shutting down the car because you want to defend the horses that you're riding on, back in the day, right? And like I can kind of understand that mentality, but for this, there's a creative element that's just being completely lost in the sauce. And so for me, when I think about what that future looks like, I reject the idea that it's going to happen like that. Where we're racing to just put the idea out and then use all of these AI tools. I still think there's going to be a lot of handcrafted human elements involved with it. And so I guess I'm not as fearful as for the future, but like if it does go that route, that's going to suck. It's going to be fucking terrible. So yeah, I don't know. Do you guys use any AI in your workflow at all?
So we use AIs to build tools, but at the end of the day, it's used by our own people. Like, one of the things that people would see definitely is the use of AI for cover arts of the DVDs in the game.
Oh, yeah.
The movie DVDs. So we have replaced all of them with new art, but it would still look like AI to a lot of people.
Gotcha.
Mostly because we've realized that it come to a point where no matter what you choose, it at the end of the day it kind of has that AI look to it now.
Right.
Mostly because like our artists basically took whatever the AI did and they tried to make their own thing from that idea. So but I feel like using AI as a tool, definitely go ahead. It's just that I feel like it should never be a thing of just a battle of ideas.
Right.
That's
I think when it comes to AI, for at least for me, I don't think it should ever go from AI to out. There should always be somebody, if you're going to use it for programming, there should always be somebody to double check, triple check it. There should always be a human touch to everything. I think the one aspect of AI that I won't bend on is any sort of concept arting. Like we've used AI for testing out different lighting and color palettes and stuff like that. But then what we do is we take that and we go to our concept artist and go, okay, we really like, moody oranges and reds. And this is, we kind of use it as mood boarding. This is what we're thinking, but now you take your creative and not even one-to-one it. Like that's one thing, like just use that as a springboard for just to kind of get in your head of where we're at. Right. But yeah, I think, it's an interesting time. I think we're on the forefront of, I'm sick and tired of the AI slop already. It's just, it's ridiculous, but,
our concept artist, like she hates AI.
I believe that.
And so, most of the concepts, of course, we're not using AI at all. The only times we're using AI at this point in terms of concepts would be how do you make storyboards faster, right? We sketch it out and then we just say, ask AI, what do you think this might end up looking like? And then, go from there.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. Does she hate AI because it's a threat to her, or does she hate it because of the quality level?
I feel like initially it was a threat to her.
Yeah.
But and then we had more concept artists, and even I think one of them used AI as a tool, not really to generate the concept. It was more like generate smaller ideas to make the concept at the end.
Right.
And so when they started seeing that, I think they started adapting to the idea. But at the end of the day, we all prefer the last thing has to be hand done, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting for sure, because the problem is too, it's creating an issue where you have players that are scouring for AI use in terms of generative AI. So assets, signage, just anything that's in the game, right? So you actually have to, if you're contracting out to other artists, now there's a workflow where you have to actually check to see if there's any AI being used within the art that you're contracting out, because if that ends up in the final version, players are going to call you out, and that could, it's a shit show right now. But yeah, no, I think I want to believe that the creatives and the visionaries will stand above the rest regardless. You kind of have to believe that, or else the whole thing just kind of goes to zero. So. All right, we are back to the lobby. I hope you guys enjoyed that Prox Chat segment with Mehraj. Blackwood, to me, is fucking awesome. I got a chance to play it earlier this year or late last year, one of the two, and the game is sick. If you guys want to check it out for yourself, the links are all going to be down in the descriptions below. So if you're on Spotify, YouTube, wherever, make sure you check out the descriptions and wishlist the game now. As always, my name is Bigfry, and this has been your Push to Talk podcast special DLC edition. Next week, we're returning with me and Crash, just the boys, talking about Modern Warfare, War Dogs, and everything in between. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.